Hey guys, this is a video I have made about the Pecha Kucha thing that we're going to do together. The purpose was just so that we start one and have a look at one. You'll see that it's missing a couple of slides, so it's not its full 6 minutes and 40 seconds, and it's not very well practiced, so it's not going to be brilliant, but that's okay, you can get the idea. The point of the whole thing was to do something which is enthusiastic and above all caring. It's got to be something that we actually care about. So mine's going to be about environments, and I'm going to try and tell it as a story. I went to a few bits and pieces of conferences recently, and they've been talking about Marshall Gantz, who's a bloke who talks about social networks. And he talks about things being the story of self, the story of us, and then the story of now. And it's quite a good way of trying to make these things work. It's how you start about something which you care about, which is something that other people should care about, and what it is that we can do now if we want to change the world. So here goes. Hi, so I'm Martin Farrier, and I want to talk to you about our environments. I care very much about our environments and the way that we present ourselves to our patients and the way that we enable care of our patients around us. It's hugely determined by the environment that is provided. I started when we were changing our ward as a paediatrician. I started thinking about the sort of environment that children would want, the ones that they would care about, because our old Victorian ward was certainly not that. We did a lot of work with children in order to understand what it was that they wanted. We started coming up with plans and started drawing pictures. This was an early picture of what it was that we wanted. They talked to us about open spaces. They talked to us about feeling like they were outside. They talked to us about knowing where they were in relation to what it turns out was their parents. The ward that we inherited didn't look remotely like that. The ward that we inherited had very little natural light. It had closed spaces. It had difficulty finding where you were. It all looked remarkably similar. It was kind of beige and purple. We wanted something which was different. The same view, different time. This view is of our ward as it is now. It is open, it has natural light that's able to get through, it has seating areas, it has places where you can sit and talk, and where children can play, and where their parents can be with them. It has a picket fence because that's outside, and it has a tree because so's that. When we were looking at wards, we also looked at the whole environment, things like desks. This is a typical desk in an adult area. It was one of the ones that was on the ward where we were, but it's closed. You sit behind it, shielded from the world. That's not really what we wanted, and I'm not sure that is what patients want. This is our desks now. They're Lego desks. We love the Lego, but it's actually the layout of the desk which is important. They're open. You can walk up to us. You can see what we're doing. You can be with us. Patients, children, don't feel threatened and don't feel excluded by the size of the desk. It's different. When we wanted to work out how to allow children to know where they were, we started talking about rainbows. Rainbows because they're appropriate to children, but also rainbows because they allow us to map the ward so that it looks different. You can have areas of different colours, and we can draw a map on the floor so that children can follow it and walk down the map. Children recognise this immediately. They run down the rainbow. Sometimes they'll even lie on the floor so that they can keep their feet on the rainbow as it goes up the wall. It's a long corridor. Otherwise, it would be a difficult place and you wouldn't know where you were going to. When you get to the end of it, you get to a door. The door has glass in it so you can see through. You can see the tree. You can see what's ahead of you. You know what you're coming into, and it's a good children's area. But glass doors are more important than that. It means that we don't knock children over when we open them. All of our doors have glass in. The floor tells you about the spaces. It allows you to know where you are in relationship to your parents and the exit. It allows children to be able to walk out. Oddly, their parents regularly don't recognise that the mapping system allows them out. But the 4 areas, follow your colour and you'll get to where you were and where your parents are. The lines on the floor are all the way through. They allow us to direct people. Oddly, parents don't always understand, but we always know that we will be able to make children feel secure. They look down, they're close to the floor, and they follow the lines that tell them where they are in relationship to where they want to be. We use flooring throughout the hospital though, and in other places we don't use it for maps. We do odd things with it. This is one of the floors in an adult area. For someone who has poor vision, this looks like a step, and they try to step down it, which is of course disastrous if you can't see very well, because you will fall. Most patients will try to get to the toilet because that's the commonest place for people to visit whilst they're on the ward. They will go between their bed and the toilet often. They won't go to other places that often. Signage though for this is poor. There's no route marked, and the signs on the door are not as clear as they could be. It would be easy to make these doors so that you knew where they were. And then you have to fight your way along the corridor. This is one of our medical wards, and it's clutter. Imagine yourself with a Zimmer frame trying to get down this one. It's difficult enough for me with just me and a few people around. It's a difficult place to get down, a difficult place to walk through. Our environment, though, is not just the inside bit, but the outside. This is a quadrangle within our hospital. It is almost wasted. There seems little point it being there. But it could be so much more. It could be a garden. It could be a place where it's worth going to. It could be an area for children to play. Outside spaces are important to adults, not just children. This could be worthwhile. So what could we do next? We can make our areas much better, much more appropriate to our patients. Without all that much money, it doesn't take that much time, but what it does is it takes care and planning. We can make our areas so much more appropriate to our patients. We should be doing that now.